Supreme Rice. Since the 1930s, supporting Louisiana farmers and communities throughout Louisiana. To find out more, go to supremerice.com. Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Snow Seafood and Steak on Airline Highway in Gonzales, welcome to the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott. Jordan Kitchen's back in the studio. Randy McKay with us today. Scott Rabelais with us today. Wes Reynolds with us today. It's a Wednesday. LSU's off week, and of course, it's been a pretty busy week for us here. With Frank Wilson taking over as the interim coach for the rest of the season. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, Charles.
Frank Wilson doesn't need an introduction around here. You've known him way longer than I have.
Since he was in seventh grade.
Yeah, and Frank, I thought yesterday he met with the media. And there's a few things that Frank has done, and this is, I think right out of the interim coach playbook of things that you should do. I thought he was very good yesterday afternoon in trying to unite rather than divide. Okay, the good interim coaches have embraced the things that worked and kind of gone away from the things that got you in this situation in the first place. So. And then he was on the SEC teleconference about an hour ago. So
okay.
This is what which is all regularly scheduled, by the way. So this is what I took out of it. First of all, he wants to get the ex-players involved, back feeling welcome. And it's not just the guys locally. It's, an Andrew Whitworth or a Braden Fajoko who's been pretty vocal on social media. Open invitation. Richard Dixon talked about it on the podcast last night. We did a double episode last night. There's some film study in there, but we also went through all the coaches. And Richard told a story about when he met Brian Kelly. He said, look, no big deal to me. He says, but the guy basically, barely gave me the time of day. So, okay, whatever. And if the players wanted to go and watch practice or work out or, see the trainer or whatever, they had to make an appointment. Okay? Again, if you're winning, no big deal, but when you're not winning, it makes you feel a little bit ostracized. So the first thing Frank did was say, come on, everybody's invited, come to practice on Thursday, love to have you, kind of a re-welcoming in. Okay, that's good. I got no problem with that.
I'm just leery of, okay, we launched a guy, now open season. Man, if you want to be constructive, tell me about that. You don't have to be a jerk when you come on the air and say, hey, man, this is the policy, and, the ex-players have to make appointments and just, you could do it. I mean, but, man, the one thing, and this is factual because we know ex-players that he's contacted, that he's reached out to, okay? And it is important. I mean, I think it's valuable to your program because totally different from LSU. But Ogeron, when he was at Miami, back in the heyday, the U, they loved that the players, man, Sapp would show up working out. Michael Irvin showing up working out. I mean, those guys, the visibility of those guys that were such a big part of that heyday was made an impression. On the players and recruits that happened to be going there. It was a valuable piece. Ogeron knows recruiting, and he knew that was a valuable piece. I know it's different now; it's all about the money, but it's still yes, you want those guys to be visible. Absolutely,
you want them to be in your corner. And I don't want to speak for any of the ex-players, but this is kind of the impression that I get that if you come out in year two and say, you know what, man, I got to make an appointment to get in the building, and then it becomes about you as an ex-player, and you're just like, hey, listen, I don't want to make a stink. I don't want to make things harder on you. This is the way you want to run things. Run things the
No,
way you want them.
you should. That should not be the policy.
Yeah.
You should have someone. And how long's Michael Barnett? He knows who the damn players are.
Yeah.
Or somebody at the gate. Hey, Michael, I got some. Who you got? Oh yeah, let him in. Kind of just something. No, you show up. You don't have. You should not have to make an appointment.
And you know who used to do that? Was Charlie Baglio. Bags was a liaison to everybody. For a long time in that building before he passed. Before he retired.
LSU's not short on staff.
No, they're not.
Somebody can do their research
Absolutely.
on who the players are. I mean,
so if you're asking,
whatever.
If you're asking why they didn't,
don't make it
speak
more
up.
of a hassle to go. Be a part of your It makes an impression on those players too. They care about the program they were a part of. Just their presence. No, it's a no-brainer. Ogeron at the last part of Miles' deal, the appointment deal existed as well. And first thing Ogeron did, he did the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, Frank learned under.
Under O, yeah.
Worked for him at Ole Miss.
Right.
Worked for him in Knoxville.
Yeah.
I mean, or with him at Knoxville.
So I thought that was a good move by Frank.
He worked with Lane Kiffin in Knoxville. That's right.
He did, and 1 year in Tennessee.
Yeah. Knoxville. Yeah.
So I think that that's a healing thing. That's a uniting thing. I thought that was
Charlie,
that
the
was
biggest thing by far, and I don't. Now, nothing that Frank had to say yesterday. What I know, and this is, he connects with the players better than Kelly.
Yes.
Okay.
He connects with the players.
Okay. Okay. I mean, like, as good as it gets with connecting with the players. And Kelly, and again, I don't want to be open season on him, but it was probably not one of his strengths.
It was a glaring weakness. But again, you let them run it the way they want. Mason Taylor said this last year, right before the draft. They asked him about Kelly. He's like, "Yeah, man, I really didn't talk to the guy all that much." Now Taylor was one of the best players he had. Didn't really talk to him all that. Charles Turner was a 2-year stay. He said, "I didn't really talk to the guy." He was that was not a Brian Kelly strong suit. And you see very few of his ex-players come out like that. Josh Williams yesterday, who was a walk-on and worked his way up, said, "Man, I didn't have anything bad. I don't have anything bad to say about him." So that's about as strong of a thing as you can get. Is I don't have anything bad to say about him.
Didn't some players speak up how he did reach out or was kind of involved in when they went through kind of a tough time as well?
Not that I saw.
Yeah, I saw some stuff on social media.
Yeah,
I mean, so
again,
it's open season on Kelly, but you know what? How was his player relationships when he beat Alabama?
They were the same.
Good,
the same as that's right.
This is
all window dressing.
Yeah,
if you win, it's fine. But I think a lot of the ex-players probably just like, man, look, I don't need to make this guy's job any harder by saying he won't let me in the building, so I'm not going to say anything.
So what about the first deal? It's like that the Saban blackballed Trev Falk.
Yeah, Saban wasn't exactly the most,
No, but that was
warm and fuzzy guy.
How did Trev Falk go undrafted? He probably didn't give a glaring review, huh? Trev Falk was. You think Trev Falk was just? We're no draft gurus, but I mean, you think he deserved to be drafted?
I've seen players with far less credentials than a college player drafted. Sure.
I mean, but here's the greatest ever. He won.
Yes, he won.
He won.
We know that cures everything.
How is his assistant relations?
Oh,
horrendous! Horrendous!
Drill sergeant to recruit, basically.
How is he with the support staff?
Same.
How is he with the media?
Same.
I mean,
he
won.
Same thing. Yeah, you win. The other thing that so you get into some of the football stuff, right? We will run the football. Okay, that was one I would like to go back and ask when a coach can be candid, because I always ask this stuff when Les was here. Is like this week of self-scouting. How in the world can Les not walk down the hall to whoever his defensive coordinator at the time was and not say, "How would you defend us?" and have that defensive coordinator not say, "You're predictable, okay? You may be physical, but you're predictable." Or to have guys like Steve Ensminger in the room not tell him, "Coach, we're kind of telegraphing what we're doing at times." So for this, Frank was like, "Hey, we will run the ball." All right, good. It's not like that's a new concept. It's everything. Everybody's been saying that. So you'll see them probably do that. Now this morning, the other question that we had was, what's going to be the immediate future of Garrett Nussmeier? Is he going to remain the starter? Is he going to back off? Is he in any way injured? Frank put that to bed this morning. He said he is our starting quarterback. Okay, he says Michael Van Buren maybe brings some things to the table that can help our team. But let me get the quote straight here. He is his best for our team. Michael adds value to our offense with his skill set and can help our team win. But Garrett is our starting quarterback. He is what's best for our offense. So, any question marks about, would Nussmeier back out, or would he be benched, or would he be going through a rehab or anything? Frank made that pretty clear this morning. The other thing he said, which was a little bit of a surprise to me, and this is a positive news, is that Whit Weeks got positive news, and he is optimistic that he'll be able to play against Alabama. He's had a productive rehab.
That's something tangible to me, because I'll get to the other stuff, but no, they missed him.
Absolutely.
Weeks. I mean, that period, they missed him. Yeah.
So that's the bulk of it from the last 24 hours. They are conducting interviews for the LSU presidency today. We've been through that. The finalists or the semifinalists, whatever you want to call it, the last 6 people are up today. There's 2 of them. I don't know if they're interviewing or not, but 4 of them are for sure. And that figures to conclude next week.
Well, the interim coach sometimes can create a spark, and we've seen it. Forget all the emotional investment. Now everybody's feeling. You think that Frank, you'd think he was Winston Churchill yesterday. Anybody but Kelly, they wanted to hear. It didn't matter what he said. So, and look, that's my boy, his family. He was right there. My dad's funeral. When he first got his head coaching job at Walker, he's at 140 Cottonwood. My dad's helping him with practice structure and things like that. So, he's come from very modest upbringing in Lower Coast, and had a dabble in everything. The Orleans Parish Public Schools at Carr, to the private Catholic school at St. Aug, to just coach. And how about the funniest thing was he got totally shafted by Nick Saban to get 3 of his kids in the day after Sunday Day. That Thursday said, we're going to move in a different direction with this coach and I. So he went to UM Monroe. And then he went to Ole Miss. And then we know his path from there. But whether it's Ed Ogeron at USC, they played better that year. Whether it's UCLA this year, they're playing better. When Newhouse was coaching, they got smashed by Indiana. Everybody's getting smashed by Indiana. But they won 3 games that nobody gave them a chance to win before. The UAB, they pulled off a monumental loss to beat Memphis. It can create a spark, and you usually see, and sometimes, whether it's pro or college, that when there's a coaching change, it's kind of okay, man. Now the spotlight's on you, so they take it. But the thing is, effort. I think Grant Bowser said yesterday he didn't think that LSU quit. Well, a lot of people did.
I disagree with Greg on that.
Yeah,
and watching the film again last night when we did film study, it's up right now on YouTube. The Handycast. There's ample evidence that
I know this, and watching a gazillion games out of reach, we're running clock. Everybody in the stands or watching on TV knows you're just running up the gut, and they're gashing us. No, and it's usually, okay, you 3 times in the middle and you punt the ball, and we're just running clock. No, they were still just going through LSU, and that's at that point. When I said no, that's the 4-letter word is kind of overused at times. But I think it applied. Exactly when they phoned it in Saturday, we can have discussions on that. But they did.
Yeah, it's somewhere towards the end of the 3rd quarter, beginning of 4th quarter is my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, quitting the game, and this would be another positive. You did not see a mass exodus of players, okay? You didn't see a whole bunch of people say, I'm out. the last 4 games, forget it. I'm going to be putting
Well,
myself
you
in the
see some
transfer
crap
portal.
online, huh?
Oh gosh,
my
yeah.
God.
And
It's golly,
you didn't
man.
see Hunt just reminded me that Colin Hurley had some very nice things. Backup, third string quarterback had some very nice things to say about Kelly. So there's been a couple, but you didn't see everybody just, hey, look, I'm going to put myself in the transfer portal, so there's no use me playing the last month. I'm out of here. And they didn't have a rash of decommitments either in the recruiting class. We got a long way to go on all that stuff about next year's roster, but it wasn't, everybody out yesterday or the day before. So take that as a mini positive too.
The biggest case is team. The interim coach was. I mean, they had a rough roster that year, and they had a brutal schedule, and team that's still undefeated this year, and that's Georgia Tech. I mean, Georgia Tech went on the road and beat 2 teams that were favored by 21 or more in these 2 games. And so they ripped it off, and they've just gotten better and better at Georgia Tech. So there's chances, and even Orgeron's interim run at USC didn't land him the job, but it opened up other opportunities. I mean, that was part of his resume that was impressive. So we'll see with Frank, but just want to see him play hard and be competitive. It's going to be a tall task. I mean, listen, hey, you did they pick up any tackles or offensive linemen this week?
No, they tried to make a trade with Ohio State, but it fell through. They wanted to throw in a draft choice.
No matter what Frank says, no matter what's being rumored, no matter who's on your target list or the odds makers have, they still got a block, huh?
Yes.
Now, can you help them a little better, scheme-wise? I think that's been a point of contention.
Oh my gosh, I felt so bad for Carius Kern when they're asking him to block the SEC sack leader by himself on the first series of the game. It's like, come on, man, you got to. We knew that on Friday. You got to put some help over there, man. You can't. You can't do that.
Probably
to that
they
kid.
actually did after the initial drive. Get the ball out quick. I mean, neutralize the rush. I mean, if you're taking 3-step and getting it out, you can't get there. You just can't get there in time.
I mean, why do you do that? You put Kern on an island. It's his first start at left tackle, so you get the quarterback killed, and it's like, how did you not know that? We knew that.
I thought Clemson, was the one. Okay, this is not the Chris Hilton game. This is not. You're not throwing the ball vertically. You can't do it. You can't ask a suspect line to protect for down the field throws. Well, it's been a Clemson game the whole year, the approach. And they got away with that because they masked it. Nobody came out the Clemson game. And I know it was maybe a result-driven a little bit, but nobody was like, damn, man, the offensive line is – that was about as good as it did because they had a plan. They're committed to being balanced. They're committed to getting out of his hands. And they just weren't going to be able to throw the ball downfield because that requires more protection.
The high water mark in game 1 of the season.
What's the lunch? Red Snow Seafood and Steak here in Gonzales, Hairline Highway at Highway 74. And we used to do the rotating specials every day. But Tuesday through Friday for lunch, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., we have a special lunch menu. So, and it's a good one prepared for our chef over here. Shiner pork ribeye marinated in Shiner Bock beer, grilled to your liking, served with sweet potato hash and Louisiana hot cane syrup. Crab cake scampi, the homemade crab cake stuffed with seasoning, grilled and served over angel hair pasta in a scampi sauce. Grilled chicken caprese, seasoned in grilled chicken breast topped with juicy tomato slices, creamy fresh mozzarella, and fragrant pesto sauce with a balsamic drizzled on top of it with grated Parmesan cheese. Red bean, catfish Francis, slow-cooked red beans with a Varon sausage served over rice with golden fried catfish strips. And then our sandwich is the smoked Gouda smash burger. So we do salads as well, the black and blue shrimp salad and the Asian chicken salad. That's in addition to a very extensive lunch menu as well. So Snow Seafood and Steak, man, from great steaks, filet mignon, to fresh fish, to great bottles of wine. God, really got some nice reds available by the glass over here at Snow's as well.
Live at Snow's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. Our on-demand coverage is brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com, supporting our Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. So there was a rule change. I wanted to touch on this while we got just a second. Back in about 3 or 4 weeks ago, the NCAA board voted to allow players and coaches to vote on to gamble, to bet on professional sports. Greg Sankey fired off a letter to the NCAA president, Charlie Baker, this weekend, said, I'm paraphrasing here, "This is a very bad idea. Please don't do this." And he got a little bit of support from the rest of the power commissioners as well. So yesterday they said, you know what, we're going to move this back and we're going to reconsider this. So they're moving it to at least the end of the football season. It would have been live this weekend is the reason that I'm bringing it up. And they're going to move it back at least till the end of the season, one day after the close of the membership rescission period. And so they are going to take a look at this again. We thought this was a bad idea at the beginning.
Stunning, man. I mean,
and we are proponents of sports wagering. I think it's fair to say, but for college athletes, it's probably best that they lay off of this while they're competing. So,
yes.
And unlike on a lot of other things, Sankey's about as powerful a voice in college athletics as there is, but the NCAA has been known to ignore their membership before. So I was kind of impressed with how quick this got done. Sankey sent them a letter this weekend. They took it on yesterday and said, "Hey, you know what? You're right. Let's put this off and reconsider this."
There's enough things. Just distractions alone. Yeah, let's just add some more complexity to it. I mean, and the players that are getting enough money that maybe they could gamble and whatever. Look, they spend it on whatever they want. You know, I mean, some people have a problem with that's their money. They spend it whatever. But I mean, the ultimate thing that just should not get lost. You got way more. I'd say the ones that are making 50, 100, or 300 or millions, they got way more at stake as far as a professional career. Stay focused, stay clean, and bust your butt because they are looking, they are asking the staff, and they're going to give them an honest report. But and develop. You're not a finished product when you show up on campus. They used to be able to break them down and decommit them before. Now they're scared to death,
right,
to do it. So it's in the best interest of the student. You know what? They're going to be ex-players way longer than their players. That's kind of the way it goes. They'll have more than enough time to gamble on professional sports when they're done.
Yeah, I was impressed that this got common sense. And the NCAA don't always go hand in hand, you know.
This is what you're doing now. You're weaker than ever. You're just kind of a non-factor more than ever. And this is what you're doing. So, I don't know.
Every now and then they get one right. I want to give them credit when they do.
Don't forget our friends over at Go Chevrolet in LaPlace. My buddy Lee Carney at Go Chevrolet. My buddy Nick Richard at Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine. So, and I talked about the certified body shop but also the service department and the concierge aspect of the service department, and had some electrical issues with my Tahoe. So I called Lee, and they set up where they came and dropped me off a loaner while we were doing the show over at Go Specialty Food. At Chris's Specialty Foods, and they so I had a loaner to use for a couple of days. They fixed it, told me what it was before they got to work. Yes, you good with this? Sure. Done. Brought it to my house. I mean, you talk about as convenient as it could possibly be. Love the concierge service department over at Go Chevrolet. And the ultimate endorsement, man. We talk about vehicles from Go Chevrolet or Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. You see it square on the license plate of my Tahoe. Mine came from Go Chevrolet. Go see my buddy Lee Carney and Nick Richard at Go Chevrolet and Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Live at Snows, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Time for the big dog, Randy McKay, with his best picks.
Not only was he undefeated last week, but Chargers on Thursday night, sleeper. Texans on Sunday. Did you see the stats mid-game in that game? 49ers had 0 first downs in the first half. Sleeper. Denver, Dallas. Love those old unis. The Orange Crush. Sleeper. Could you at least provide a little excitement for us, huh, Randy? Huh, big dog?
Look, provide that for him. I was fine with how this went down last week.
There was a lot of games that were sleepers last week. It was actually a pretty boring Sunday as far as any close games are. I guess the Jets-Bengals was the only close one. This week might be a little different. You know, we got 5 games with a total of 50 or over, so we might see a little bit more high scoring and some closer games, even though there's some big spreads out there. So we'll have to wait and see, but hopefully more exciting Sunday this week, except for for our bets.
Those big spreads have been covering, especially the early games, right at 65% for the year, the chalk covering those numbers. So we've seen some non-competitive games. I mean, think about the garbage. I mean, it was kind of a garbage sports weekend for me. I mean, Saturday night, I'm still hearing the Aggie War hymn in my head from the Aggie takeover in Tiger Stadium.
Yeah, you think you had a bad weekend? That's Brian Kelly.
Yeah, well, I'll get paid. I'll swap with Brian Kelly.
Right.
You give me that bad weekend all you want.
I just meant the football part.
Okay. So, I mean, Sunday, do you see some crowd shots of Saints fans? That was terrible. And then Monday, the Pelicans get beat by like 35 to a team that didn't have a win on the season.
How'd Zion play?
He was a scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's unusual.
I mean, Miss Gale got a headache too. Miss Gale, BK on line 1. I mean, misery loves company. Any rhyme or reason to what's going on right now at the NFL and some of these lopsided matchups, Randy?
Yeah, just there's some really bad football out there this year on the bottom half of some of these teams, and some are competing, but the bad teams are just getting these bad spots, and I even thought the Saints would be a pretty good bet last week, but I guess I was wrong on that one. But I didn't give it out to you guys late, but I had a little touch of that 4.5, unfortunately, in that game. But
because the Tampa Bay didn't really do much offensively. It can't do. This just in. The Saints, their one win, they got 5 or 6 turnovers against the Giants. They can't afford to lose a turnover battle, and that's why Rattler's got to sit. He's got to sit. What is now that we know that Chuck will be quarterback, making his first start? I know it's not one of your picks, but do you, Brissett took over? I thought actually I'd bump up the Cardinals on my personal power rating when he took over for the Cardinals. What's your power rating do for going from Rattler to Chuck here?
Pretty bad spot for him to get his first start against one of the better elite NFL teams off a bye here. So we'll wait and see. But he has gotten time, so it's better than bringing a guy in cold. So, I would, if the Rams get out pretty comfortably in the first half, a second half bet maybe on the Saints wouldn't be a bad option here because, when teams get, the Rams will probably coast when they get up there and they might have some success here in the second half.
Gotcha. And boy, it's if you had the survivor, if you had the Cardinals, huh? Against Tennessee. Tennessee is just getting smashed every week, and of course, it started with the guy throwing him. That's just adding salt to the wound, huh, Charlie? That is you had that Arizona.
Yeah, and we had the Bengals. Okay, they had a 2-touchdown lead. I didn't think the Jets could score 23 points in a month, much less in a quarter. Okay, so every now and then you get that out, and I know the Bengals defense is bad. But Justin Fields, my goodness,
he's as bad of a quarterback at throwing the ball.
I'll take my lumps. We lost the pick on that, but my goodness, I'll bet you anything you want the Jets don't score 23 points in a quarter.
So they're beating up the Bengals. When we see that they were beating up the Dolphins last week, how'd they do, Randy? Bengals +3 at home against the Bears.
Yeah, I like them. I mean, I'm going to roll the dice with them. That's one of my picks here, and with the, even with Flacco and Hendrickson a little questionable here, I'm going to roll my dice. If it has to be Browning, then it's fine. But I'm more question marks on the Bears side here with the defense, offense still not finishing drives. As you've seen, they could have easily covered the number, or at least covered teasers there with a touchdown there.
Oh, not covering a teaser is brutal at the end,
yeah. Yeah, and I don't feel like they should be a road favorite this high, so I see some value here getting the Bengals here at +3, and that's one of my picks this week.
And going into last week's game as well, I mean, number one in turnover margin in the league. I'm not sure if it's up. I hadn't seen the updated, but, I mean, we know that's not sustainable. Yes, better teams should have better turnover margins, but it was a big impact on them, getting the. I mean, all you got to do is go to that Monday night game against the Commanders. I mean, Jaden Daniels just snap fumbles. I mean, they're putting the game away pretty much with another first down. It didn't happen. You gave us one on Thursday night last week. You're looking at Thursday night again. Miami showing some life after that miserable performance up in Cleveland. Falcons never in it. Now, there was one spot down 14 inside the red zone, first down, but John Robinson fumbles the ball. Not only did he fumble it, but then Miami goes 85 yards for a touchdown. Miami at home here. Lamar Jackson coming off the injury list. Miami catching 7.5 at home Thursday night.
Yeah, and I said last week that I was a little iffy whether this Miami team would be dead or not. I think there's still a little life left in them. They played this Thursday night spot before against Buffalo, and they were very competitive with a beat-up squad in that one. So this one here, is Lamar Jackson sure he's going to be back, but is he healthy playing? That's another question mark. Baltimore's defense still isn't that good. They still have a lot of injuries, so Miami should have some decent success, with their ball control and throwing the ball all over the place like they did last week versus Atlanta at home. And like I said before, this Buffalo Thursday night situation, them having played this before and then getting this kind of spread, in their favor is a pretty opportunistic spot here. So I definitely like the Dolphins as a dog here.
All right, the Dolphins against the dog, in the dog at the home dog on Thursday night. The Dolphins whooped up on Atlanta last week. It was not a pretty performance for Kirk Cousins. Maybe we thought with another year to kind of heal, maybe he was rushed back, and that he had to be less than 100% when he was playing last year. He's never played at such a low level than what he did last year, but it was just as ugly. On Sunday, they go to Foxborough against the hot Patriots. You're looking at the total here at 45. It's a noon kickoff here for Central Time.
Yeah, I've seen some action here on the spread too. It's gone up from 5 to 6.5. Now back down to the best number here is 6. But I'm going to lean towards the total here under 45. If you look at Atlanta's home road splits, awful especially if Penix starts here on the road. He's had very bad road splits. These are two teams that like to run the ball first, even though, quarterback May has looked very good. But Vrabel likes to, get those leads and grind it out. So, and you don't know the status of wide receiver London for Atlanta either. So they might be without a weapon there as well. So I see this being a grinded out, never know what the weather is going to be like, too, in Foxborough Stadium. So that's going to be a little tough for the Dome team. And I see this being a kind of a low-scoring grinder type game. If you like the dog and under, maybe this is a pretty good spot if you think Atlanta can hang in there. But I like under 45 the best out of these two options.
All right, Atlanta, New England under 45. Miami plus 7.5 at home Thursday night against Baltimore, and Cincinnati home dog plus 3 against the Chicago Bears. Where do you have the Bears quarterback right now, Williams, for kind of 1 to 32? We talk about the starting quarterbacks right now. Where is he, Randy? Because we were starting to see some signs maybe of the new coach helping him out a little bit, but I don't, it's just kind of. Where do you have him?
I still have him probably in the 20s. It's still too much ab lib for me when I watch those games or watch him. He's not, taking that first read or, the design play that Johnson puts in, and then you see him trying, his best. He goes back to that ab lib play where he's running around and trying to, make things happen too much. So until he gets rid of that part of the game, which will still be part of his game, and gets more on structure and can read things in the pocket, he's still going to be right around in the 20s as quarterback for me. He's still a great athlete, but still shaky with those ab lib plays.
You know what? I'm surprised that there's not more big plays. He seems to have cut down the mistakes down just a touch. He hasn't thrown quite as many interceptions, but I expected more big plays. Maybe part of that scaling him back to cut down on the mistakes has cut down on the possible. Because his yards per attempt is at 7.3. I expected that number to be higher.
Randy, we're polling all of our guests this week, and your reaction when word broke on Sunday that LSU had made a move on Brian Kelly.
Yeah, not surprising considering the things we've seen in college football this year with these coaches getting fired. Maybe a little too early, in a lot of cases. These buyouts are outrageous, and you see these numbers come through, $50 million and that kind of thing. Not totally surprised because of what we've seen already in college football with a lot of teams getting fired all over the place, and it'll be interesting who they get down there in your country for a new coach. So that'll be an interesting search.
Well, we're really pissed at Wes Reynolds. We had enough of this Indiana crap. I can tell you that, Randy. He's had enough fun. Okay, he's had enough fun. Yeah. Any future bets, divisions, like maybe conference, maybe Colts? I mean, maybe to get the first seed, the number one seed, most wins, least wins. Anything right now? You see a little value on a future board?
I think there's still a 10-1, or maybe even a little better on Baltimore to win the AFC.
Okay.
If you want some pretty good odds on a team, I think that's favored to win the division still. Even we haven't seen Pittsburgh take control, and they'll probably lose again. They got the Colts in a tough game this week, and of course then you got the other two teams, Cincinnati and Cleveland, that aren't even probably going to be in the division race. So a little bit Baltimore, they're going to be a scary team when they get in the playoffs for these teams, and I think they can win those road games.
Any other division that they were in, they might be buried. But that division, the Burrow injury, Pittsburgh's been shaky. The Steelers, with the lead, have the worst record of any division leader right now. So don't look at Baltimore's 2-5. Look at where Pittsburgh is.
Constant for Pittsburgh for so long. I mean, this pass defense, it's a passing league now. This pass defense, Love completed about 22 straight passes Sunday night or something. I mean, we saw Cincinnati. I mean, it's awful. I mean, it is really,
it went from 16-7 to 30-16, I think, was the...
Oh, it's 29 unanswered.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. All right, Randy, good stuff, man. We appreciate you. Got any survivors left after the carnage on with the Dolphins and Jets winning?
Yeah, I still have 2 left. I had the Colts and used the Colts on the 2, and probably favored to use the Rams this week because this is the only week to really use them. So hopefully your Saints don't rise up, pull the big upset on me. But we'll have to wait and see on that one.
All right. Well, no pressure on you because we've gotten a message from the LSU administration, so they are taking your picks and trying to roll this money over to buy out BK. So, I mean, we're trying to get this done. So, no pressure on you. So, you're more purple and gold than you realize, big dog.
Glad to contribute to the NIL there in Baton Rouge.
We'll take it.
It takes a village. Great stuff as always. Follow Randy on Twitter at RR39. Good luck to you, buddy. We'll be in touch this weekend.
All right, thanks, guys. Good luck, everybody out there.
Yes, indeed. Don't forget my friends over at United Community Bank, the local way to bank big, with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. Have been serving the people of South Louisiana for over 50 years, including their newest branch at Burbank and Bluebonnet. Got some an account over there. Very friendly people. Our great team of bankers: Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry, Prentice Wilkes. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at Snow's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at Snow's live at lunch. World Series got tied up at 2 apiece last night. The Blue Jays bounced back from that 18-inning heartbreaker to beat the Dodgers last night 6-2. Listen, Shohei Ohtani may be the best baseball player that's ever lived. Okay, we can make the argument, but yes, took the words. You're finishing my sentences,
there you go,
Jimmy. But you last night, he's still reaching base. The first walk in the first inning, I think, was 13 consecutive plate appearances in which he has reached at Dodger Stadium in this series. 9 for 9 yesterday,
And
so you're asking him to do that, and he had one bad inning, really, by his accounts last night on the mound. So you can't expect him to do everything every night.
No, but this one, Otterlocks, we took Toronto money line, took under outs recorded, which was like 6 2/3. So he started the 7th, but he didn't record an out, so that went under, and under 6.5 strikeouts, which went under as well. I mean, it's just a lot. Smoltz is really excellent on the broadcast.
Yeah.
He talked about it. He said, man, this is, and listen, look at the location and what the pitchers are doing. On the home run to Guerrero, letter high, no break to it, just spinning up there, begging him to hit it. I mean, just begging. The to start the 7th, I mean, the single and the double were crushed, both letter high. So when you're high like that, you're not finishing your pitches, and it's fatigue. So he was vulnerable last night, and still didn't pitch bad by any stretch. But look, this was Springer was out of the lineup. Bichette was back in. He did get an RBI double, but no. And then the bullpen was their bullpen, as they've been for most of the season. They were shaky. We got a series now. I mean, it's baseball. Dodgers are still the favorite, massive favorites tonight. But Snell and Yamamoto are two pretty good ones to have in 5 and 6. We have to see if Snell. Most people think he's going to bounce back after the long layoff. Remember that layoff they had because they swept the Brewers and had to sit there and wait. But it's just fun. It's got some juice. This thing's really got some juice. It's funny it's getting better ratings in Japan and in Canada in the United States, but, I mean, that's the fact of it. But it's got some juice, man. And I love Vladdy. And I love his dad was one of my favorite players. You talk about a tools player. God, he was so fun to watch play before his knees kind of went bad. But he all of this, it's kind of like, man, we're trying to get so into whether it was Jeter or A-Rod. Man, tell us. He's like, it's baseball, man. We're just playing. I mean, I went in the locker room last night. Everybody had their head down. Yeah, we lost an extra inning game in the World Series, man. It's all right. We're going to come back and play. I mean, now we're hitting. We're trying to take good. It's just simplifying it. Sometimes we read into it. It's like, it's baseball. We're not going to get too high, too low. If you do, you're going to make one loss into 5 or 6 or one strikeout into 5 or 6. So next pitch, next game.
And a great story in Trey Yusevich going tonight for Toronto. In the last 16 months, he's won games for East Carolina, A-ball, A-plus ball, AA, AAA, and the Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series.
It's a big spot for him. Man.
Yes, it is very much so. Hour number 2, straight ahead, 104.5 ESPN Bet.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Enjoying the finer things in life is his forte. Let's bring in Scott Rabelais from The Advocate.
If he wants to enjoy the finer things in life,
Live at lunch, live on the Lanai.
Doesn't
enjoying the weather
shouldn't he
today.
come out here with this weather? My goodness, messed with our lighting a little bit, but we don't care because
Brian Kelly report on the Lanai, Naples, Florida. Yes, indeed.
Rab, we're not going to bury the lead here. Who's LSU's next football coach going to be? Come on, tell me right now.
Oh man, I wish I could tell you I would be able to afford the Lanai and the vacation home in Florida. I think if they push hard enough for John Summerall, he'd take it. Offered him enough money and made a big enough push. I think he would take it. But the question is, I'm like everybody else. Guys. I got to call Nick Saban and make him tell you no. And want to tell me $20 million a year to offer him for 3 years or something like that would not be too much. In this situation, but he's older. Obviously, he's going to be 74 on Friday. But that's got to be your first choice. Then you go from there. Then you ask him, who should I call next, Nick? I guess is the question.
Okay, I'm gonna. Besides all of the reasons that we've given that this is not going to work, can I ask this question? Nick Saban got out of coaching largely because, in my opinion, and some of this he's alluded to, if not said directly, he wasn't wild about the current landscape. I think his exact quote was when his wife said, what are we doing when every recruit shows up and just basically says how much? None of that has changed. He's only 2 years older. Why would he, unless he just got out and absolutely hates his life now because he wants to coach that bad, which I don't see, what's different about now than when he left Alabama?
Charlie just might. If you talk to a coach that doesn't miss the competitive aspect of it, that gets out of it.
Okay.
And he still have? Forget the age. He's a young 72. Look, he's got something left
74.
in the tank. 74. He's got something. Does he not have something left in the tank? We all agree.
I have no doubt that he would do a great job if he came here.
He's pretty sharp.
That's not the issue.
Yeah, so that's it.
It's the want to. I mean, Scott, why would he want to?
I think Jimmy hit it exactly on the head. These guys never stop wanting to be coaches. This competitive fire never goes away. And so I think that's part of it. And it's the one school I think he would consider. I don't think he'd go to Penn State. I don't think he'd go to Florida State if that job opened. I don't think he'd go to Auburn. That would be kind of funny.
But I think it's a long shot, is what Charlie's trying to say.
Yeah.
And it is a long shot.
Oh, it's totally a long shot.
I would be very surprised if LSU doesn't make that call.
And they should.
Okay?
After he tells you no, ask him what he thinks.
So
that's right. That's what I'm saying. Ask him what he thinks. You got to value his opinion more than anyone else. He's going to say, call Lane, call Dan Lanning, call whoever. But I mean, it was a long shot for him to come here the first time. Right? I mean, I know the landscape has changed completely, and you're right, Charlie. The things that made him want to leave Alabama, 2 years ago, have not changed, and they could say they're only getting more, only getting worse. But for LSU, there's an emotional tie to LSU. He really loved his time here. He really thought he made a mistake. He told me so. When he went to the Miami Dolphins, but it was too late. LSU had already hired Les Miles, and he realized that this was his. I think he realized this was kind of his best destiny. I'm sure he enjoyed his tenure at Alabama and all the work he did there. But there's a tie to LSU that he would at least take your call, and then you go from there.
All right, talk to me about John Summerall. Your thoughts about him? Yeah, could LSU hire him? Yes. Okay, that's not really in question. They could put an offer on the table to get him. Play me pros and cons on Summerall. In your mind.
He won at Troy, and he's won at Tulane. Could have them in the college football playoff. Certainly more in the conversation than LSU is. He's young. He seems to get coaching in Louisiana and what football means, and I think he would get coaching at LSU. He's from the South. Y'all remember that thing earlier this year with I'm sure y'all talked about it, that when Northwestern refused to let them wear the jerseys they wanted to wear for the Katrina anniversary, and he blasted them after the game. That's the kind of thing football fans down here love to hear. I'm sure even LSU fans who don't like Tulane like hearing that. He's younger. He's got passion. I think if you don't go Nick Saban, I think you have to go somebody younger. I'm not interested in Willie Fritz coming at 65. I'm sorry, Charlie. I know you think he's a good candidate. I'm not interested.
No. I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's a viable candidate.
He's a great coach.
But
he's better than good.
Oh, no. He's
a great coach.
Yes, he has won everywhere. We've been through. He's a great coach. I don't think he's a viable candidate. Okay, at this place at this time.
I don't either. But you can do a lot worse than Willie Fritz.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yes. Yeah,
absolutely you could. And if you run through
Summerall,
candidates, then maybe he's the guy.
Summerall is benefiting from Willie Fritz's work.
Now, keep in mind too. No, he didn't build it for last year. He turned over 17 starters this year, including the quarterback, and he still got him up there.
I paint the whole picture. It's not like we're not politics here. It's not either or. Okay,
right.
Give him credit. Don't give him credit for getting it started. He didn't, but sustaining it, yes. And if you're getting money out of that group, Uptown New Orleans, to get some of that cheese for player budget, you get how to raise money. Part of the head coach now, just as much as X's O's, is a fundraiser. I mean, and he's a willing participant in it. So yes, give him credit for that, for sustaining it. But you can't. Would he have had the same success as Willie Fritz? Probably not. Had he started when Willie Fritz did.
Rab?
Probably not, but he was 23-4 at Troy, and that's pretty good.
Built that.
The knock is he cannot. He has not coached at this level. He has coached as an assistant at Kentucky and Ole Miss, but he has not been a head coach at this level. So as compared to say Eli Drinkwitz, say.
What the hell is going on around here? That's Vince Lombardi. LSU's going to get Tulane's coach. Jeez.
That was a stigma. That was a stigma for a long time. I don't think it. I think that was a little bit of the problem with Billy Napier 4 years ago, in my opinion. I don't think that would be. I don't think that would be quite the stigma. Where LSU and Tulane, they hardly played each other in the last 20, 25 years.
From a person who grew up,
the biggest rival anymore. So
I understand. From a person that grew up, there's some people that probably grew up with me in that city that would say we never thought this would have a chance.
If there is anybody that is in charge of this search, the current athletic director, a future athletic director, a future LSU president, a sitting governor, anybody that's got any say on the Board of Supervisors at all that says we're not going to consider him because he's a Tulane coach, I will happily tell them, you are stupid, okay?
Right.
You are absolutely stupid. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little bit of evidence to this thing, okay? Ohio State, Oregon, and Georgia are three of the top 6 teams in the country right now, and all 3 of them hired a guy that had never been a head coach anywhere before. Okay, so this idea about you're stuck in this rut about we can't hire a Tulane coach or we can't hire an assistant coach because Mike Archer 40 years ago didn't get the job done or some assistant somewhere. This can work if you hire the right person. Okay, if you talk to John Summerall and you decide he's not the right guy, then so be it. But if you just dismiss him out of hand because he's the Tulane coach, you're not doing your job. Okay, it's got nothing to do. He has nothing to do with Billy Napier. He also has nothing to do with Ryan Day, Dan Lanning, or Kirby Smart, who all took those jobs. I'm just saying, don't limit yourself because of another coach. Look at every guy. That's all I'm saying.
You can't limit yourself, and that includes, as you said, assistant coaches. Like Joe Brady's name has come up, and Kelvin Shepard's name has come up. I think Joe Brady doesn't want to coach in college football again. I think he's more likely to get an NFL head coaching job in the near future. We want to be a coach. And I think Kelvin Shepard's intriguing, but I don't think his time has quite come. I mean, he's on the rise and made a very meteoric rise, but he could get an NFL coaching job as well. That would in the near future. That wouldn't shock me either. But you got to open your eyes to all those guys.
I'll give you a guy that I think has absolutely zero chance to get this job, but I'll bet he's a head coach somewhere in the next 2 or 3 years, and that's Glenn Schumann. Okay, that's a name that's not at the top of anybody's list. Who is Glenn Schumann? Glenn Schumann's a defensive coordinator at Georgia and has been either the coordinator or the co-coordinator since 2019. And he coached at Alabama, and he went to Alabama, so he knows about the league. But they're not going to hire Glenn Schumann. Somebody probably will, and I don't know if he'll be the next Dan Lanning or he'll fall on his face. But, please don't just throw them all out. Give everybody some consideration. Who else you like after you get back? What's your take on Lane Kiffin?
I think Lane Kiffin. I didn't think the time was right 4 years ago. But I agree with you. I think Charlie, you said you thought he would have come. I think he would have come. I think the time is right. I think he's gotten more mature. I hope so. He's almost 50. I hope he's mature.
Jimmy just says he's getting older.
Man, I think that's the biggest line of crap ever. He's getting older, and that's it. Let's stop at that. Maturity is not his specialty. No. Just see him barking with the defensive player during a post-game interview with Norman just Saturday, just a few days ago.
Check the Twitter feed.
It's a risk. It's a risk, but I think LSU fans would eat that up with a knife and fork. Lane Kiffin, if he won and was mixing it up with people and tweaking people on social media and stuff like that, I think a lot of fans would love it. He's, for better or for worse, the coach of the face of a new generation, and I think it's somebody else you have to consider. I could ask you guys what's your opinion.
He's a little modern era Spurrier.
Yes.
I mean, but I could tell you this: he sort of connects with his players a little bit.
Oh,
it just seems to, when they dunk the basketball on the side, just kind of, just a little bit. Go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry to cut you off.
My question to you guys is, I hear people say you can't really consider somebody like him or Dan Lanning, because they could be making a deep run in the playoff. I mean, is that really, then you never can hire a guy like that? I mean, is that really because that really limits you? That really shuts off some significant candidates, if that's the case.
Blue book it. One of them's going to make the jump. Somebody that's involved in a playoff is going to take another job. When? This year? Next year? 10 years from now? It's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, and I think the most likely first of that is going to be a group of five coach that goes through.
Maybe I should even a Power 4 coach, a Power 4 program coach participant in the playoff. I think.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jimmy. I think that there will be a team that is willing to wait on a coach. I don't know if LSU is going to be that team.
No,
without knowing,
it adds layers of complexity.
It does.
It adds another hurdle.
Yeah,
I get it.
Very much so.
I mean, when's Lane Kiffin ever coached in the playoff? Signetti did last year, but this year he's got a chance this year.
All of this is new. You've got a new portal rule this year. You've got a new the recruiting calendar is constantly changing. The early signing period is 10 years old. So and now you've got a new playoff system. I don't know if this is the year
Scott,
that happens.
I have a question for Scott though. Scott, all of this, maybe governor involvement on AD. Is he a lame duck? Who's going to be the next AD? The board, the new is this old LSU splintered type of process for this critical coaching hire?
Well, it's certainly not the best atmosphere that you could have. Obviously, I mean, I'm of the opinion. I'm leaning to. I'm not convinced, but I'm of the opinion that Scott Woodward is not going to be the guy making the next hire. And I don't think the governor is any kind. I don't think this governor is Huey Long or John McKisson, where they were on the sidelines. I don't think he loves LSU sports that much. I don't think he loves LSU at all. But he sees an opportunity to score political points with helping LSU make a big hire. It's not the best. I do think the right candidate. And let's not discount the egos involved with these coaches. If you think you can coach at LSU, you think very highly of yourself. Obviously, Brian Kelly thought very highly of himself, and so did everyone else who's come down the pipe. All these guys who won national championships here, they thought very highly of themselves as coaches. And you have to know, if I win at LSU, I'm more powerful than the governor. I'm more popular than the coach of the New Orleans Saints. I'm the man in the state of Louisiana, and you can overcome all those things, and you can like a big hurricane, if I may use that analogy with several hurricanes just in Jamaica. You could create your own environment, where things are conducive to winning. So that takes a very strong person and personality. But again, most of these guys are. Now, could that be John Summerall? Could that be Lane Kiffin? Could that be Eli Drinkwitz? I don't know. By the way, if I had somebody down the list who I'm intrigued by, other than the names we mentioned, I would say Brent Key at Georgia Tech. Obviously, he's coaching at his alma mater, but Georgia Tech is Georgia Tech at the end of the day, and LSU is LSU. So I would be interested in him.
He should get some interest from not for LSU, just some of the bigger jobs. I mean, if Florida would make would bring in him, that's a solid hire, man. He's got his connecting with his kids, too. He is also, his alma mater. It's one of those private schools that is kind of getting there, or academic pretty proud schools that are, relax their admissions, so. But he's done. That's a miracle what he's got going on at Georgia Tech. And listen, Sathier is not a football coach or any coach, period, that doesn't want more resources. That doesn't want,
right.
And they know that LSU is not just a place where you got to have the right guy. They've had 3 completely different coaches who all won the whole thing. So LSU is one of the few programs that has the data points that no, it's been proven that you don't have to be just the right guy to get it. It's done it with some real different level coaches.
Scott, last thing, you're an excellent writer. Write the epitaph of Brian Kelly's tenure at LSU. What's the first graph?
The first graph is Brian Kelly did some things to right the ship when LSU was surprisingly, floundering to win the national championship. But Brian Kelly, he was his own the agent of his own demise. He overpromised and underdelivered big time. He always talked about alignment and playing complementary football, and we're going to improve and this and that, and it just never could come together. And he did it. He did himself in because he said all these things, and this was the biggest year, right? He said, "This is the best team I've got. We're on our way, and everything is in place," and he couldn't do it. So, I think Brian Kelly did some good things, but he ultimately did himself in more than anything.
Brad, we always appreciate it. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
We are brought to you by the Thibodeau Store and the Pierre Part Store. Now, as they have increased have doubled the number of their stores into LaRose and Lockport. And you can always go to thethibodeaustore.com. It'll get you to any of the properties. Same-day pickup available after you order off the website. Also, delivery on some of the items. Also, right now, is a little chill in the air this morning. The outdoor heating equipment, so many different, over 50 different patio heaters, home heaters, outdoor heating units are available right now on the website as we head into the cooler months if you're looking for that. And, of course, your outdoor cooking equipment as well.
I mean, you need oyster shucking gloves? Got them. You need the gloves that you got to pull your off your egg. You got to pull the indirect heat thing, so you could do you slow cook your brisket or your chicken. We got that. Knives, cleaners, pizza cutters. I mean, cast iron jambalaya pots. I mean, 2-burner table with a flat griddle. I mean, McWare cookware, plastic batter bowls with the little holes. So, just get the right type of batter with your fried food items, man. Everything. Smoke pellets, propane, fleur-de-lis boiling pots, you name it. He's got everything you could imagine and then some. Everything for barbecue tool sets. It is barbecue grilling season right now with this great weather here in South Louisiana. You do outdoor cooking on site for the tailgates or in your backyard in your outdoor kitchen, you got to make a run to the Pierre Part Store, Lockport Store, LaRose Store, Thibodeau Store. Get down there, man.
And online, it's thethibodeaustore.com. Wes Reynolds is next with us live at Snow's, live at lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. From east, north to south, but we're heading west. It's Wes Reynolds from VSiN.
Wes, how you doing, buddy?
Better than Brian Kelly, apparently.
How rich are you?
You guys warned me. You guys said that, the boys were out. I just, they're just maybe a little bit honked off. They'll get right. And apparently getting right was letting go of Brian Kelly on Sunday afternoon. So you guys told me, and I should have heeded your warning.
Well, we were still surprised, okay, I mean, on Sunday. So, I mean, we knew people were not happy, okay, I mean, angry. Let's just say that, angry. But it's not usually where the fans' temperature translates to the decision makers. But anyway, what did give us the information of Kurt Cignetti? What was the message that he addressed his team before he headed down to Baton Rouge?
Yeah, yeah. Look, Kurt Cignetti is becoming very Holstian. If you've listened to some of his press briefings lately, because he was very complimentary to UCLA, and said, "Hey, they're a 3-0 team, right? They're 3-0, and we ignore all of that and how seriously they're taking them." And they took them seriously, apparently, because they beat them down 56-6 and made sure they beat them down and beat them down good. And he's been doing it with Maryland this week too. And Maryland, I think, even though they lost to UCLA, has been a little bit better throughout the season. They've lost a couple heartbreakers. Like, that team could be 5-2 or 6-1, and that wouldn't be an over 3 touchdown spread. But Cignetti was praising them all in the press conference. They do this well, they do that great. That reminds me of Lou Holtz in the 80s at Notre Dame, where he would say, well, they got the best punt coverage team in the country. But he would figure out one thing that a team does well, even though they're like 35-point underdogs. But they're dangerous because they got a really good punt coverage team or something. And that's kind of what Cignetti has been doing for this prep this week at Maryland.
Did he coach under Lou Holtz or something? I mean, because my favorite was when Lou Holtz, a couple of them, they were favored by Rice about 50, and he was talking up Rice. But the ultimate was playing SMU in South Bend the year after coming off the death penalty.
Yeah.
SMU's getting drilled by people, and I mean, he's trying to talk them up. We're like, okay, all right, please.
Forrest Gregg was the head coach for SMU, and they showed it in that documentary, that Pony Excess, and like Ricky Waters is like running all over these guys.
Oh, yeah.
They could have hung 100 on those guys.
But as far as the Indiana Hoosiers are concerned, listen, I mean, when they get up, they're just so, I mean, they're still playing hard, man, up 20, up 30. Like when they just poured it on against Illinois. They just poured it on Saturday against UCLA. And that's hard to find. And even Nick Saban talked about that when he was here in Baton Rouge. And this was back when the U was rolling. He says, I don't know what it is, because it seemed like so many of the games, LSU games and early games under Saban, were coming out to these one-score games left and right. And he says, I don't know what they're telling them down in Miami, but when those guys get up 20, they're trying to get up 40 type of deal. So got that killer instinct. And the other thing is, Cignetti ain't worried about running it up, because like you saw Whittingham at Utah, they went 50-0 or whatever it was against Colorado. They got outscored 7-3 the second half. I mean, they completely took the foot off the gas. But Cignetti, in building his program, Wes, tell me if I'm wrong, he sees some value in letting Fernando, pile up some stats and getting a high. A Heisman Trophy would help him continue to build his program at Indiana.
Absolutely, and in terms of acquiring portal talent, and you've got Fernando, who, at least at the bare minimum, I'm not really looking at mock drafts at this point, but it would at least be a first-round pick. And, and that says something. It's like, okay, that guy did it, so I could go do it. So that says something to either portal kids or kids out from the high school. So that's just what you have to do. And it just, with the Avalanche started with that pick 6 by Aiden Fisher early on. But, what you worry about with Indiana a little bit is some of the injuries and the depth, because I think the offensive and the defensive lines have really been what is like, okay, this team can actually win the thing or certainly go deep in the playoff, because it's just so much better up front on both sides of the ball. But going to Maryland, I don't know if I'd be laying the 22. I laid it last week against UCLA. Maryland does have some dudes, and Mike Loxley, maybe not the greatest in-game coach, certainly not, but he's a pretty good recruiter. As in, he was on that Saban staff down at Alabama, so they're going to have dudes. And I think Maryland, off that bye, is going to be a little bit more competitive. There's going to be one scare, at least for Indiana, as they try to go 12-0 and eventually face Ohio State and Indianapolis for the Big Ten title game. There's going to be one scare. It could be this week, could be at Penn State. Don't think it will be Wisconsin. Don't think it will be Purdue, but there's one scare in these Final Four games.
Our friends at the Queen DraftKings outlet, Fernando Mendoza, plus 290 to be the first pick overall in the draft behind Ty Simpson at 220. We understand that these odds have shifted. Can you believe Nussmeyer's still sixth choice to be the number one pick? I'm just, that's why I brought it up. That's why I brought it up. But we've seen some different. Any peek behind the curtain, any insight, Wes, before we get to your picks, on their evaluation process, why they're hitting on some of their transfers at a higher rate than seems like most people?
Well, some of it was obviously the James Madison kid, Signetti, and, was with the program and had the continuity. So I think a lot of those guys that weren't five-star kids certainly coming out of the prep ranks, but who wouldn't say Elijah Surratt isn't a five-star now? The receiver for Indiana, or Aiden Fisher, the linebacker, or D'Angelo Pons, the defensive back, and they have just figured it out here. And the NIL is good. It's not like stupid good NIL, like at Ohio State or places like that. But they've been hitting on these guys, and they're starting to get better players in terms of going on visits, because every week, and you guys have that down at LSU, there's a laundry list of kids that are coming that are either commits or potential decommits from other programs. And, they're starting to get better players and higher-ranked players that are coming in and saying, we're buying into what this guy is putting out there. And they have just the continuity of not only the transfers from James Madison, but that staff that was with Signetti. Most of that staff from James Madison came with him. And, Bryant Haynes, they're going to have more money to keep him the defensive coordinator at Indiana, because he's going to start getting head coaching offers, and you can only turn so many of them down and give him so many raises before a guy wants to be a head coach.
All right, Wes, 2-0 in the NFL. Let's start off with your favorite NFL picks this week.
Yeah, a couple, and this kind of a strange card this week because there's a lot of injuries. So I haven't bet a ton to start the week, but one that I did bet, I bet the Atlanta Falcons plus 6. I still think there's some 6. There's some 5.5 out there too. Maybe positive that Penix is going to play, and then also kind of just playing against New England at the top of the market, because guess who's leading the AFC East right now? It's not the Buffalo Bills. It's the New England Patriots, with a win in hand, by the way, over the Buffalo Bills. But other than that game, they've beaten up on the little sisters of the poor, shall we say, in the NFL. Got it done against Tennessee the week before, Cleveland last week, and now they're rolling, and Drake May's starting to get MVP on all the shows, much like Baker Mayfield a couple weeks ago, and then what happened on Monday night, Detroit laid them out. So careful with New England this week. I like the Dirty Birds, who were off a horrible performance with Cousins starting last week against Miami. So I played that, and then I'm talking up my state of Indiana so much. I'm loving what the Hoosiers are doing. I'm loving what the Colts are doing. Beware for the Colts this week, though. This is going to be a tough spot in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh didn't cover in that rah-rah Mike Tomlin underdog spot against Green Bay, but they've been kind of the house of horrors for the Colts for as long as I've been a Colts fan, and Colts just never seem to play well. They're at I call it Three Rivers, but Acrisure Stadium there in Pittsburgh, and I think Pittsburgh maybe gets off the mat off that poor performance in the second half against Green Bay. So I want to get that 3.5. It's mainly 3 with juice on Indianapolis, but it's just there's been so much prosperity for the Colts right now. But now the schedule is going to get a little bit tougher. So if you can get that hook, take those Steelers on Sunday.
All right, college football. Who are we looking at this week, Wes?
Well, it's an interesting one because we talked about, obviously, a fire coach and an interim taking over with LSU with Frank Wilson. I'll be interested to see how the Tigers play against Alabama, but I'm going to take another interim this week, and that's Billy Gonzalez down there at the University of Florida and the cocktail party at Jacksonville against Georgia. I took 7.5, would still take a little bit of 7. Gonzalez is kind of like a Gator through and through. This is his third tenure on the Florida staff. He was with Urban, of course, for all their success. He was with Dan Mullen, and now he comes back to Gainesville with Billy Napier, who was let go. I still think Florida is going to play hard. And obviously those players I don't think were happy of Napier being let go. But and this isn't the Jake spot where it's like, you mail it in, you focus on getting in the transfer portal and where you're going to go next year. We've already seen that down there in Baton Rouge at LSU. But I Florida's going to be up for Georgia. So this is the rivalry, and Georgia's still very good. But you guys watch this as closely as anybody in SEC country. They don't seem to me to be like as dominant as they usually are.
They're not,
especially at the line of scrimmage, and they've been scored on by Ole Miss and by Tennessee. And Florida's not as dynamic offensively as those teams, but I think the Gators, they're going to treat this like a bowl game and kind of a save your season spot here. So give me the Gators.
Yeah, Georgia, 3 straight covers, won by half a point against Kentucky. Got call after call down in Auburn to win that one, and still could have gone down with a knee to not cover there. And then last week, I mean, when have we seen a Georgia defensive team at home where the first 5 drives are long, sustained touchdown drives to start the game? Then they got 3 and out, 4 and out to end the game, and it was a lucky cover for Georgia last week as well. So kind of that cover and run, living on borrowed time. No, none of the SEC teams have these super rosters that they used to. It's football. You lose players, and guess what? Your depth, where you usually had NFL players, they went to immediate playing time elsewhere.
And this game has always struck me as the SEC East, the old SEC East version of the Iron Bowl. Okay, you're gonna get the best from both of these guys.
I think Sun Belt Billy had one more bullet in that gun. I thought this was his. They got him out of there before he won this game. So I've liked Florida. I've looked at this one for a long time. Who else, Wes?
Yeah, a couple other ones. One other SEC one, and this is an uglier one than Florida, but South Carolina getting 12.5, some 13 out there against Ole Miss. I just wonder, Ole Miss now, how the mindset is going to be, because it's all ahead of them now. Now they've got 4 games that they should win. I think they have South Carolina. They have Citadel. They, of course, closed against Mississippi State. Like, they should be a lock for the playoff, and I think that they are. But how are they going to handle that off 2 high-energy road games? One was a close loss at Georgia. One was a win at Oklahoma. Lane Kiffin is going to be banning about, is he going to come to LSU? Is he going to go to Florida? Is he going to stay where he is? So, tricky spot against the Gamecocks, and I actually thought the Gamecocks, who I was on last week, were a little bit better than Alabama in that game and probably deserved a better fate and maybe an outright win. So we'll see if South Carolina is still interested in playing hard, or if Shane Beamer is going to go back to his daddy's old job at Virginia Tech. I think that's a possibility at least. But South Carolina, go ahead and give me those points with them. And then West Virginia at Houston. I was on Houston against Arizona State last week, and Willie Fritz, who you guys know from his time at Tulane, great job and very little fanfare, but now they're getting fanfare. Now they're ranked for the first time this season. And sometimes teams, when they get in that spot, get a little bit of hype, and then, there's emotion with the member of their staff that sadly passed away over the last week. That's a tough spot, I think, for Houston. Give me the Mountaineers.
Follow Wes on Twitter at Wes Reynolds 1. Great stuff, Wes. Good luck to you this week. We'll talk to you next week.
You bet, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance. Total Maintenance, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest air conditioning heating companies, founded in 1980, and now's the time to get those heaters checked. Safety is a big deal, getting these heaters checked right now at Total Maintenance. Don't wait till it really gets to, we have a hard freeze here in town, and everybody's trying to make sure of doing it last minute. Do it now. Get that heating check. Call Total Maintenance at 480-1000. 480-1000. Also, we have membership programs that cover all of the services we offer with discounts and extended warranties. So it'd be a good time to get on one of the services and save yourself some money as well. And also, it's a time where now's the time, if you have a unit that's over 10 years old that had to be serviced this past summer, you're looking for a replacement, now is the time to get you a much better deal on a replacement unit right now as well. Carrier, American Standard, Dakin and Ream products. We've got all of these units available at Total Maintenance, 480-1000.
Live at Snow's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we're also brought to you by the Morris Insurance Group. They urge you to look again if you're having a hard time maybe getting a quote or insurance on your coastal properties. You need flood insurance, your duck camps, your fishing camps, or any of your other items. We call it big boy toys, your boats, your trailers,
Yes.
your motorcycles, your RVs. There's so many different items, your tractors, that you can get insurance through the Morris Insurance Group. They also do auto, homeowners, and commercial insurance, of course. So give them a call at 201-0007, 225-201-0007. Ask for Buzzy Heidel. He'll help you out. You can also go online and get a free quote, morris-ig.com, morris-ig.com. I love Ed Ogeron. I really do. That as a person, I'm sorry. I like the guy. And Coach O's been a little bit more visible of late, right? Seems to want to get back into coaching. So he's doing this this deal with ESPN this morning, this unsportsmanlike show. And he says, you want your old job back? I said, you kidding me? One phone call away. All I got to do is get in the truck. Still got my house down there. Love it. Love being a defensive line coach. Love being the recruiting coordinator. Love to get back. Sure, I'd consider. And they said, well, what if Lane Kiffin was the head coach? Would you consider going back and coach for him? Absolutely. I'd consider it. Love LSU. Like I said, I love Coach O. I'm sorry. As a person, I understand why he had to go and all this stuff. I get it. And I wasn't necessarily the biggest cheerleader when he got the job. Because of how it went down. But,
Charlie,
man, I love Coach O.
He's been and listen, besides just sort of the unique personality, that you just don't see guys like him,
Right.
There's not a whole lot of guys running around that sound like him, look like him, act like him in college football. But you cannot deny. Now, whenever you have success, there's a rush to credit. But if you talk to some people that know these situations, players, how about players? Ask some of the old Miami players how big of a role he played back in the day when they were running their thing. How big of a role he played in that USC run?
Well, it was pretty obvious that Pete Carroll retained, him and one other guy, or just him?
One.
Yeah, just him.
Him.
Right.
When they smoked Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl, they dumped the Gatorade on him. Mm-hmm. They carried him off. And
right
he was
before he left for Ole Miss, right?
And he's the head coach. Yes, yeah. He's the head coach. He's the head coach of arguably the best season in the history of college football. Well, certainly the team that beat the most top 10 teams and beat teams that finished in the top 10 teams the most. Now, because you're adding games, teams are being in the top 10, you're going to have some more candidates. But as of now, they're the number one. And they've had some pretty good players go on to them. I mean, that LSU team is that great Miami team, with so much success at the next level too. So, and the one that a lot of people don't know, nobody. You played all those top 10 teams. Nobody had the ball. No opponent had the ball in a one-score game in the fourth quarter the whole season.
So there's.
I mean, he's a big part, man. And listen, maybe I'm privy to it, but no, he's played a key role in some really special runs for college football.
There would be almost no traction for him to come back here as head coach. But whoever gets the job, if they said, want to bring back Coach O as a defensive line coach and he wants to come, what would the approval rating be on that?
Which should be 100%.
It would be very close to 100%. There's some people that don't like him, I'm sure. You're the head coach here. You're going to make some enemies somewhere. But very, very high.
I think
very, very high.
I think that's his future. And I think he's highly coveted D-line recruiting guy. I'm not so sure about the head coach. There's lower programs I think they would take him. But that's where I think at top of the list, coveted D-line coach recruiter.
Let me throw this one at you. John Summerall takes a job wherever he takes it. Would you hire him at Tulane?
Ed
to be the head coach at Tulane?
Maybe. I mean, that's a possibility.
I mean, some Louisiana, right?
I don't fit don't mean nothing to me, man. I've seen. I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
But he can coach. I mean,
well, but it was Charlie. I mean, it was an unceremonious parting of the ways.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's some people that are going to be like, "Oh no, we're fine," and some people it's going to be a deal breaker. Sorry, I mean, it was a deal breaker for Lane Kiffin 4 years ago.
No, I
with the powers, the decision makers.
If he wanted to come back here and be on the defensive staff, I think there would be a lot of appetite for that. A lot of appetite for that.
Well, tell me somebody who wouldn't want him as a defensive line coach.
That's why I asked you.
No. But you're talking about the head coach at Tulane.
At Tulane, I don't know. I don't know if that'd work or not. Maybe.
I mean, he'd be in play. We don't know. Who knows if Summerall takes the job, who Tulane's going to hire him. I mean, they made 2 good hires, though. And we said it when they hired him. I mean, wait, you got this guy from Georgia. He wins.
Yeah.
This guy from Troy has won.
It's a better job than it was 5 years ago.
No argument. No argument there. Don't forget our friends over here at Snow Seafood and Steak. Again, lunch specials in addition to our extensive lunch menu, which is available Tuesday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Shiner pork ribeye, crab cake scampi, the grilled chicken caprese, red bean catfish Francis. Our sandwiches is a smoked Gouda smash burger, salads, a black and blue shrimp salad, and Asian chicken salad. Extensive lunch specials on our every Tuesday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., in addition to our regular lunch menu.
Live at Snow's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak. Ken Gonzalez on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One of the hot names in this coaching cycle is Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State. He'll be without his starting quarterback this week.
Oh.
Sam Leavitt is back in the boot. He played against Houston. He left the game. He came back in the game. He went off limping in the fourth quarter. He is out against Iowa State this week. It'll be Jeff Sims, a backup who was 6 for 11 last week. That number is 7.5. Iowa State is a favorite. That is a noon game on Saturday. This Matt Campbell.
Well, Leavitt, poor Texas Tech, rubbing their head.
Yeah.
Because he saved his best because he was not playing well. He played lights out against them. And even after should have been more of a comfortable win, but Texas Tech rallies back, takes a lead. He goes 75 yards with the 2 minutes. They got the ball exactly a 2-minute warning, went 75 yards for a touchdown. He was awesome in that game against top 5 defense in the country.
You surprised Matt Campbell's name? They're playing Iowa State this week. Isn't being mentioned in these that it used to be the hottest name.
Might mean that he's might finally going to make a move.
They were 11-3 last year. Right, exactly. When it gets quiet.
It's a lot of times it's the agent's throwing him.
That guy's been a head coach for 15 years. He's 45 years old. 15 years. 10 of them at Iowa State, 5 at Toledo.
Yeah. Oh, he was super young at Toledo. Yeah.
He took that job. I don't think he'd even made 30 yet.
That old worn hat. That kind of I wear look like a frat kid, man.
Yeah. Thanks to our folks, friends here at Snow Seafood and Steak for being our host today. Tomorrow we make our return to Rocco's on Drusilla.
Dello will be with us.
Dello's going to be with us tomorrow. So as well as Matt Humans and Dwayne Colucci. Marl was here and. Back in the studio, Jordan Kinches. I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.